Someone said, a man that wakes up and finds himself successful has not been asleep. Wait, what? How can you wake up and not be asleep? How can you find yourself successful and not know when or how it happened? How can you sleep and not wake up? How can this happen and that not happen? How can these two things happen at the same time? How can this? How can that? Okay, this quote is a little bit here and there. This quote is a little contradictory, you think. How about you hang in there, stick around with me, and let us unfold this riddle together. To a common mind, to a simple mind, this quote is simply trash. This quote is garbage. This quote does not have any essence in it. It does not have a sense. It is just putting words together. This quote does not make any kind of sense. But to a wise mind, this is what it means. To be successful in life takes and needs a little more than what meets the eye. It takes a little bit more than focus and focus and focus. It takes a little bit more than hard work. It takes a little bit more than dedication. It takes a little bit more than devotion. Being focused on succeeding, being focused on that thing you hold dear that you want to succeed in, needs additional attributes. Because the world we live in comes with distractions. But as this quote said, for you not to be asleep, but then wake up, it means you are blind. You are blind. You made yourself blind to distractions. For you to be asleep, for you to wake up from your sleep, it means that sleep represents being numb to distractions. You know, to have woken up means you have slept. And to sleep means you are dead to some things. Means you are dead to certain things. You're dead to an aspect or a part of life. To be successful, as it's known to all, you have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional. You have to be hardworking. You have to be focused. You have to be this and you have to be that. That they teach. But what we are not being taught is that to be successful, you have to be dead to certain things. You have to be especially dead to distractions. You have to be dead to discouragements. You have to be deaf and dumb and numb to all forms of distractions, which is the interpretation of a man waking up to find out he is successful. There will be distractions. There will be discouragements. But to be successful, you have to be dead to those things, which is when you're sleeping, head down, and focusing on the success, the end game, which is success. Celebrating little wins, yes, but being humble enough to not dwell on it and not let it get into the head. Remain asleep while focusing on success, on succeeding. Remain asleep to distractions. Remain asleep to discouragements. Remain asleep to even errors, failures here and there. Remain asleep to to things that will distract you from your channel, from your focus, from the set mind of getting it done. Remain asleep to any form of discouragement, especially discouragement, because life is full of it. And by the time you keep awake, by the time you lift your head up, you realize the distance that you've gone, the grounds that you've covered. That is when you wake up to find the grounds, to find the success you have achieved. So for you to wake up and find the success, you need to be asleep to these things I mentioned. A man that wakes up to find himself successful has never slept. You have never slept, although you just woke up, but you have never slept, because while your head is down, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the focus, you're putting in the intention, you're putting in the deliberate acts, you're pushing, you're working hard. It seems to the world or to environment that you're sleeping because you kept mute, because you ignore talks, because you ignore discouragements, because you ignore a few things happening around. You ignore the environment. To the world, you are asleep. But to you, you remain focused. So a man that wakes up to find himself successful, when that success comes, you know that you have not been asleep. You know that you're working on the ground. You're working hard below the surface that is open to the world. You're putting in the effort, you're putting in the hard work. And when the glory shines, just like pregnancy, when you are failing, when you are working hard, nobody sees that. The success, the pregnancy, when it starts protruding, is what the world sees. So to be awake to your success, to be awake to being successful, you have to sleep. You have to be dead to certain things. You have to be dead to distractions. You have to be dead to discouragements. You have to be dead to failure. You have to be numb to failure. You have to be numb to setbacks. But awake to hard work. Awake to intention, to motive. And I don't really want to push this too far, but I hope the little points are clear enough that you need to stay humble. You need to stay humble. You need to stay underground. You need to stay and work hard while you're underground. And by the time you wake up, your success will speak for itself. Again, to wake up to find out you're successful, you must not be asleep. That is the little interpretation I want to give to you. But I really want to know what your idea of this quote is. If you have a different interpretation to it, please comment and let's discuss it. It is an African quote, and we all know that our African parents are wise. So if you are an African parent and you know there is a different interpretation to this quote, let's share it. Let's learn together, like I always say. And on that note, I will sign out and I'll say I'll see you next time.